Powered by Riverside.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Leadership Bites podcast, where we share the inspiring and empowering stories of current and emerging women leaders across diverse career stages, industries, and backgrounds. Today, we're welcoming Artesha Moore, who is the president and CEO of Association Forum. Artesha leads Association Forum, which is a membership organization that serves more than 4,000 association professionals whose efforts serve more than 37 million members and generate $22 billion in global annual expenditures. And prior to her current role, Artesha served as the vice president for affiliation, engagement, membership at the American Geophysical Union. She is an active member of the American Society of Association Executives. You all may have heard us refer to it in other podcasts as ASAE. In 2021, she was selected as an ASAE Fellow, which was really a career milestone and achievement. So, congratulations to her there. She is also an ASAE Diversity Executive Leadership Program Scholar, and she serves on ASAE's Foresight Works Advisory Group. And I want to just say before we start that this is a really special interview for me. Artesha and I go back to about 2012, I think it is, when I first met her and I was interviewing for a job with an organization that she worked for at the time. And ultimately, I didn't get the role at that organization, but we connected and kept in touch. And when I did move into my first management role, she was a wonderful resource and mentor for me. Came out to have lunch with me. I asked her all kinds of questions about how to be successful in the role that I was in, leading a membership department, and she was just wonderful, just an asset to my career. And the foundation that she helped me lay for management has really helped guide me up to this point in my career. And so I'm really pleased to have this opportunity to share her light with the audience today. So, Artesha, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. And look, I'm listening and I'm looking behind me like, who is that? Because just from the time I met you, and that's the beauty of what I get to do. From the time I met you, when you were receiving what I was pouring out, you were also pouring into me.
Wow.
I'm fueled by leaders and
Yeah.
those that are real and are trying to do something that is authentic, whatever I can give to them from my background or energy or whatever that is, I'm going to pour into them because I receive so much. So I'm just excited to be here because you blowing up.
Thank you so much. So let's jump in. We have so much ground to
All
cover,
right,
and
let's
I'm
go.
going to
So
tell
let's go.
you. Yeah, I'm going to tell you, audience, listen, get prepared, buckle up and get prepared for a ride because we are going to have a great chat today. Atisha, let's start by talking about your leadership journey. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got started in the association industry and your trajectory toward your current role?
Sure. I stumbled in like most professionals in our industry. Actually, we're a niche, so a lot of people don't know that we, as an industry or a kind of career path, exist. I needed a job. I actually didn't have a degree. I worked at an adoption agency, so I started in not for profit on that side, right? Like working. I was admin. I was a secretary and a front desk, but I actually taught myself a four dummies book way back in the day, those yellow books, manuals. I taught myself how to write SQL code. And so I built a database that led this kind of international program, took it from paper boxes to digitized. And so once I had the skill, I didn't want to use the dictaphone anymore on the front desk. I applied for administrative assistant jobs all over the city of D. I'm from originally from Washington D.C. All over the city, and I did that. What ended up happening was I got a job at an association. When I went in to meet with the executive vice president, and we started talking, she asked me about leadership styles and management, and I didn't know nothing. I had one staff person at the adoption agency. We was moving boxes, it was what it was. The thing is that I had a skill and I had a mind. I got a call back and they offered me a job as a membership manager, and boom, I'm in associations.
Yeah.
So over the course of, for me, it was this kind of marriage of being smart, being tech savvy enough, because technologies also could be things like a telephone, and then being focused on my goal at the time and continues to be in some aspect to take care of myself and my family.
Yeah.
So at first, it wasn't about career. I didn't
Hmm.
have a degree. I just needed a good job, as my mama said, that paid the benefits. But in associations, I actually found a place that would leverage my mind, and it wasn't about always what I didn't have.
Yeah.
So I moved from association to association under a track of three things: membership, tech advancement, and workforce development. And so
Hmm.
each one of my jobs has been uniquely positioned. I think it wasn't a standard piece that led to where I am today. And I can't wait to go deeper into the questions of things.
Yeah, I love that. And I think you highlighted that piece about associations. In my day job, that is one of the things that I am striving to change is people having awareness of associations as an industry. And so I'm going to ask you, what is the thing that has kept you in this industry? Why have you stayed? So you stumbled in, but you stayed. Why is that?
I get to be unbound to any imaginary title that exists in different spaces. From the very first association that I worked on, no hat made sense anywhere else. I
Mm,
started working in my working life in for profit. If you're a data entry clerk, you're in data analysis, you're in that. In associations, if it's 11 of y'all and you smart, today you the director of such and such. All right then. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So that's what you can do.
Mhm.
The other part that keeps me here is the passion of the people.
Yeah.
So I've been able to work with NASA scientists. I've been able to work with big folks at the CDC. I've also been able to work with healthcare, home care nurses that made subpar salaries.
Yeah.
The passion and enthusiasm when somebody gives of their free time to move something forward, it's like an activism for me. So this profession gives me an opportunity to be Artesha unleashed, but also all the time. Watch out for my current job. They like, Lord, she is unleashed. But also be fueled by people who want to do good in most aspects to change the world from
Yeah.
wherever they are.
Yeah. I love that. So that being said, and I alluded to it a few minutes ago, that you have a natural charisma. You have a very energetic personality. Did you always sense that that would translate into you leading somewhere, whether it was in associations or for profit or
No,
wherever?
no, actually, I wanted to be a research scientist. I went to school actually originally to be a chemist, and my minor was in mathematics. I did love arts. I come from a big, boisterous family, so maybe that's what it is. That's how we are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I didn't think that piece, but in prepping for this, or and getting thinking about it, I've always been this. So my grandmother used to call me Miss Thing from when I was young,
Hmm.
because Miss Thing is going to say whatever she wants to say. Miss Thing is going to da da da. Da. But in 2023, last year, my sister said, "Boo, you've been the ultimate self helper your whole life. I've been on a quest for knowledge, not to acquire it to be powerful, so that I could give it to somebody else." And
Yeah.
then that actually is what leadership is, right? If you serve others in a way that gives of what you have in order to help them meet whatever that is, I guess then I was destined to be this. I think God had a different plan, and that's why I'm sitting in this chair right now in Chicago.
Mm, yeah. So you're now leading an organization, you have a staff, and there's a responsibility to continually improve yourself, as you just
Mhm.
mentioned. in order to be able to bring up folks behind you as well. How do you do that? How do you continue to learn and grow, even in your current role where you're at the top of an organization?
One of my Clifton leadership strengths is learner.
Mm,
So it's almost foreign to me that people don't always continuously learn. So for instance, I probably have 5 books going all the time. The the magazines that I'm reading right now are Harvard Business Review, MIT Sloan, and Scientific American.
okay.
Right. Also, shout out to my BBI collective. I also read a sickening number of comic books. I
Mm.
mean, actual. Somebody just gave me a new reference for a DC comic series that I'm about to get into uh, over the summer. So I'm always into stuff. I listen to podcasts. I listen to Your Beautiful Voice in my car and all these women
Thank
that
you.
inspire me. I watch YouTube videos. During lunch, I'll do a TED Talk once in a while. We just made a mandatory LinkedIn learning kind of learning pass for my senior team around supervisory and management. I had to take it too. So when I was delayed in my learning, I called myself out like, I'm gonna do it. I gotta do right.
Mm,
Because at some point, I would say for most of my career, especially when I led IT teams and education teams, if you're not learning new things, you're actually costing me future money. And that
mm.
I don't like.
That is powerful. That is powerful. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, because if you still pumping, I started my career using, shout out to the older people in the audience, using a dictaphone. So I just had to tell somebody this week what a dictaphone was. It was
Yeah.
a recorder that had pedals that I would type the thing that my boss would have a conversation in her little blah, blah, blah overnight. That now is an app feature for the last 20 years in Word.
Mhm.
If I didn't learn something new and continuously learn,
Yeah.
what would I be?
Yeah.
I'm also a tech strategist, so AI is something that everybody's like, "Oh Lord," and for me, is somebody bought me a beautiful T-shirt this last year that said, "AI isn't magic; it's just math."
Mm. I love it. I
So
love it.
I think keep learning things, and also, learning is fun.
I agree.
Learn a
Um,
new line dance. Beyonce got one every other year,
yeah.
baby. Learn a new, just something.
Yeah.
Just something. Just
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, you are so right. It's that the stagnation that comes along with not learning, I think is something that is a real impediment to leadership. And I agree with you, it's an impediment to organizational growth too. So that's a powerful
Mhm.
statement. Thank you for that. So I want to switch gears a little bit and ask you about a personal or professional challenge, or a triumph. Yeah, want to make space for that too, or a triumph that helped shape you. And as you think about that, also tell us how you think that situation has shaped your approach to leadership today.
Hmm. Here's what I will say, and I'm going to really kind of lean in here and
Mhm.
say that the journey that I've gone on over the last 2 years, um, really is probably more transformative, and I've had lots of transformative things, right, like from my standpoint. But I think for me, and I'm going to shout out my personal executive coach, which is Joya Jefferson Nuri, in this transformation. So becoming a CEO, I've been doing association management for almost 30 years at this point. And every acknowledgement that you listed in my bio, I'm always shocked, like, me? They chose me, right? But at some point, you get to be like, keep stumbling into accolades. I was the young and aspiring leader and one of the first future leaders, and I was the da 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 da. Da. I've got a 10-page CV, and then you start to think, well, I got this shit, right? I got it together. I did it, and I'm doing it. And then I became a CEO, and I thought it wouldn't change me, and it didn't change me. It fueled every insecurity that I ever thought that I had conquered came up. The self doubt came up. The pieces that I had spent 10 years in therapy working on came up. The fear that came out, the doubt. So, not just the pandemic, I am a dystopian future girl. Out of my friend group, Artesha's the one that it ain't gonna work and don't nobody ever do that. That's me. Okay. So I've seen the shift and decline in associations from 2017, not 2020.
Mm,
Right.
okay.
So
Yeah.
as we step into this role, these are my peers. This is the dream for me to give back to an industry that changed me. And this job sent me on a journey that transformed me as a person that I sit here today, a different Artesha than when I came. Not about the work. The work is it's wonderful. It's hard and it's challenging, but I know that part. What I had to get right with Joya and my therapist, Dr. Myrna, is the inner critic flared
Yeah.
hurtfully.
Yeah.
I heard things and felt things and had to deal with things that shook me to my core. But here's what happened. I studied Eastern philosophy and religion when I was in college. I went back to that. I went back to my center. Right now, I'm in a place after 2.5 years that I can say I'm leading beautifully from a place that I'm Artesha, buck naked. You know
Love
what I'm
it.
saying?
Love it. I do. I do.
Right here. If it mess up, so what? If it goes, so what? If y'all don't feel it, so what? If it feels, so what? As long as I'm aligned with what God is pouring through me to give to the people. That's it.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that. There's a lot of our peers, and you know this, that have a trajectory that says, I want to be the CEO. I had a trajectory, shout out to Allison Heron. I had a trajectory that I did not want to be that. She said to me when I took this job that you're the only one that didn't think that this was the trajectory. You went kicking and screaming into being a CEO. I didn't want it because I didn't think that CEOs had fun. They don't get to do wild things and be their whole self and then I said, well, wait a minute. I could either work for a mediocre man again, and I've done that in 30 years. You know, sometimes men can be mediocre, and be mad, or I could take this opportunity to show what leadership looks like when you're authentic, when you align with I'm a business kind of person. I
Yeah.
did not say that. I do love ASAE and the Association Forum and all of the things. I said Harvard Business Review, MIT Sloan, right, Scientific American. That's what I said.
Yes.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
associations are businesses and I'm a business
Yes.
person.
Yes.
This journey wasn't anything about business. So I will say here, right now, I'm very much aligned with boundaries. I'm opening my chakras. I just have a chakra reading next week. I'm into beauty and things that really are inside.
Yeah.
And then I love who I am
Yeah.
again. And that took time. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So for those who are listening, particularly women who are struggling to get to that place, because that last thing you said was so powerful. I love who I am. People
mhm,
spend their whole lives and don't get to that place. A
mhm,
sad truth, but a truth nonetheless. So talk to us a little bit about the journey to that
mhm,
self-love.
hmm. I think it's still ongoing. There's mornings that I don't have it.
Mhm.
When I have a tight budget. This year, my budget was, let me back up. In my executive coaching sessions, I get to things slow. My mom says I usually feel on the inside, and then I struggle with my mind, again, a scientist, to figure out the kind of experiments that lead to the validation. That's not how life works. God slaps you right up on the head. That's not how it works. Boom, get it
Yeah.
together. So it took me a while to first center myself enough to hear that something was happening. 2.5 years ago when I took the job, yeah, 2.5 years, I took the job. I started, I'm this. I understand that I am in charge of a team. I've led $1 million teams, multi-million-dollar projects, bigger organizations, right? This is a leading an organization, but I've led teams, 30 people,
Mhm.
multi-million dollars. This ain't even that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It ain't even that, right? I got 10 people, 7. I got this. Yeah, we got this. Wasn't about that. It's about something different. So My evolution became, and again, my coach, shout out to you, you better be listening, technician, manager, entrepreneur. And so I didn't like the word entrepreneur. Sounded like Steve Jobs. I got a soul. I got hot
Mhm.
sauce in my bag swag. You know what I mean? I got a soul. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't like that. Two and a
Mm,
half years later, when I had to do a budget, this year the budget hurt. So I'm a business person. I had to make decisions because my job is to save the brand, not the people. Did you hear what I said?
yeah, yeah,
I cried for 6 months because I deeply care about these people. I
yeah.
had to get to the realization that I am the entrepreneur that saves the brand for the next 100 years. This is just my space image. I had to realize that I am not a player coach anymore. I'm an owner.
Mm,
And the owner's task is different.
yeah.
That hurt. It
Mhm.
hurts when I have to put on the suit. Most people know me very much as this. My staff also knows, and the board knows, when I put on the suit, I'm not this.
Yeah.
I'm very direct. I'm very much, because I'm a business person too. I'm a reforming capitalist. I'm reforming, listeners. I'm reforming. I understand that capitalism is bad. I'm just saying I like to acquire things. I'm hip hop. I like aggression, right? So
Uh-huh.
um, it's been hard. Here's
Yeah.
what I do. I look myself in the mirror, and when I'm feeling really bad, I cry. But then I say to myself, and again, shout out to, all of the hours of work that I've been doing, I'll go back to the basics. I love you, Artesha. You
Mhm.
do enough. You
Yeah,
are enough. There is enough. There will be enough.
yeah, yeah,
God is always right.
yeah,
That's another one. So I try
yeah.
to look at those things. I struggle with it. And then, truth be told, I would put on some Beyonce or something very ratchet and get it going.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then we go forward. If I do it from a place of love, I can sleep.
Yeah. That's key. I mean, you could bottle this up and sell it. I
Don't
promise
talk
you,
about
you
me
could.
like this.
No, no, ma'am. I'm trying to tell you. See, you haven't, let me just say, I love that you are on this continual journey of self love because what I have seen from the moment I met you in that interview, and even when you later sat down with me across the table at lunch, and I recalled I brought a notepad just like this one and a pen, and I wrote down everything that you said everything that you told me. And I will tell you, I still have those notes today, right? That was 2012. It is 2024. I still have those notes. So trust me, I've been a recipient. When I say you could bottle this wisdom up and sell it, I mean it. It is such a powerful thing. And I know that the listeners are enjoying it as much as I am. And so I won't get stuck there because I will go down that rabbit hole if you let me. But I want to talk about the way that you uplift because that's something that I've also seen as a
Mhm.
recurring theme since I've known you is that you are a person who intentionally supports other women, whether they're in leadership roles or not.
Mhm.
And what inspired you to do and to become that?
My mom, period.
Mm,
My mom is a lover of women. She
mhm,
just is. And so watching her, I kind of came up with this thing because I watched her. We moved around a lot in the military, and she would, at some point, using her beautiful Gemini essence of keeping it real and whatever, would get to what I have coined as she wanted to know your woman's story. Who hurt you? What hurt you? Where did you come? Like, who are you? So it didn't matter because growing up in the military, it didn't matter what color you were, not to my peoples, right? And that was also interesting. They came from DC when it was Chocolate City, 80% Black, and it was just this. And they go off and they raise their children in this wild world of everybody in Europe and everything. But my mom has this thing about getting to the root of who you are in the inside. She don't wear no makeup. She's really much like Whoopi from Jumpin' Jack Flash, right? Like she's just, but so it's my mom and then her mom, right?
Yeah.
Like I was raised for myself blessedly that I had my three of my great grandmothers alive, both of my grandmothers until I was almost in my 40s. That's a lot of women. So I think that that's the number one part of it. Because of my mom and how she is, all me and my sisters are all like that. My little sister is like amplified community give to everybody, right? And so that's what inspired me. The other piece is I am everybody and everybody is me. I was a clerk, but before that, I was a food service worker. I worked at retail. My dad is from the projects. So I don't care how big I get, I wasn't raised like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So my calling is to pour into people because that's not just how I was raised and oh, is you supposed to. I get from it. I
Yeah.
get from it. So
Yeah.
when you all make it, and I all tell all of y'all the same thing, I'm a good worker. When y'all be up there, don't forget to hire me, right? Like I'll be good. But I want to see y'all do it. And I also try to inspire and just tell everybody, you don't have to do it and look like nothing. I said that way back when I don't feel that way. They're my besties are polished, the super professionals. Baby, they got on Chanel and they out here. I'm me. I'm gonna
Mhm.
be loud. I'm gonna be this. I'm gonna say the thing. I'm gonna outsmart all of y'all because I got a whole bunch of numbers working in the back of the matrix, and I'm gonna pour into the next one. I'm
Yeah.
so excited to see as you guys do the things. When I saw your flag go up for the child, I was so excited because
Thank
this is what it's about. So if I can give shout out to moms from that, that's how we were raised. And blessedly, I just was with her last weekend. She still is like that at the grocery store. Like, Mom, if you don't get away from these people, they don't know you.
you.
Girls, they don't even know these people.
That's the goodness we need in this world, though. And as we talk about the industry a bit, I want to talk about what you see in leadership right now, even in the association management community, and what you think are some of the skills that leaders need most right now. And why are they important?
A couple of things as I'm thinking right now. I think this deep humility is needed
Mm, I love that.
because that would then make it easier for you to learn that you're wrong and learn something new. As a scientist and as a technologist, I actually am prepared to be wrong all the time. I'm actually okay with it because that means I need to go down another da 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 da. I'm not always good at reading others, right? So I've leaned into empathy in different ways because I don't understand that everybody ain't like that. Like, what? What? So y'all, you just were broken because I didn't work, child. They say no all the time. I keep going, you know. So that part of being openly humble, I know that I am flawed, beautifully, unique, beautifully is my new tattoo that I got. Um, so that piece. The other part I would say is having empathy in ways that you've never even imagined. So being humble so that you can learn and being empathetic are the things that we actually need. And then the third part I will say, shout out to association people, get your business acumen game up, boo. Because there are still, when I do a lot of research, that we're talking about things that don't make money, and if it don't make money, it don't make mission. If it don't make mission, it don't make sense. So good ideas for 1% of the people that isn't going to have market analysis. There's no market business plan. There is no valuation. When I applied for this job, the first thing I said is that what positioning do you all have to go in front of venture capitalists? Because right now, I don't as much anymore because I watch it. Shout out to X-Men Gang Gang. I'm watching cartoons again. But I was watching Shark Tank on repeat for like 4 years, right? During the pandemic. What else am I going to
Mhm.
play Animal Crossing and watch Shark Tank? And watching Shark Tank, our industry does not talk like business people. Let's have some empathy. Let's be humble so we can learn. And please, let's start getting our business acumen up. What is the market positioning of your products right now? How many have you are still carrying for the last 20 years that have not had an evaluation that if nobody is buying it but 10 people, I am sorry, it is dragging down 50% of your business right now. Let's get
Yeah.
with it.
Powerful. Those are true statements, regardless of what industry you're in. The business acumen is so important. And you talked a little bit earlier about your team and how much you care about them.
Any
And
Avengers.
yes. Yeah, and how important they are to you. And so I'm curious, how do you cultivate a supportive and inclusive environment for your team? It's all the buzz right now. But if anybody who knows me and listens to this podcast knows that I say all the time, I have a deep respect for the leaders who walk the talk. And so I'm always questioning, if this is a value for you, how are you walking it? Right. So I'd love for you to tell our audience a little bit about how you do that as a leader.
I am real. I worked my way up from clerk secretary into, so I remember
Yeah.
executives and how they treated people.
Yeah.
I also remember people not wanting me to talk because I was a quote whatever. And I had the answer.
Yeah.
So being humble for me, I also believe I have, okay, let me just say this because I should have referenced a few things. I have 11 tattoos right now. I'm probably thinking of another two by the end of the summer, right? So one of my tattoos is be the change you wish to see in the world. This opportunity to be a CEO of associations of associations is that I can model what leadership looks like when you are truly authentic, when you really give ownership to the people who can drive it, and set a culture where people are held accountable for things, but also can be human.
Yeah.
I only hire Avengers, but that isn't about title. But every position, whether you are a senior coordinator that's doing office support or finance, whatever, better speak up. So early in my tenure here and the association forum, one of the juniorest of staffs knew the answer to something, and we were in a meeting, and I'm a CEO, and so they didn't say anything. And at the end of every statement, I say, because I don't know if y'all can hear it, I speak with confidence and authority because I love me, baby. So what I say got makes sense. It slaps every time. Then I said, so tell me why that's not going to work. I do that all the time. Why? Because they will let us drive right off the cliff. So I said to the young woman, and we laughed afterwards. I said, if you were just gonna let me go all the way and you knew we was gonna leave the meeting and all of that, I said, well, let me tell you this. We gonna be Thelma and Louise and we driving off the cliff together. How about that? And so have some humility. There are
Yeah.
times in meetings that I say, and one of my directors was like shocked, right? Oh, I totally forgot about that. We said that? Oh, okay. Well, then let's do that. At the end of the day, it's not about fun. If I have to get in your stuff, I will quickly, swiftly, and with no, but I trust you. And I trust that you're going to make mistakes. Did you learn? Let's go. But if you're not an Avenger, meaning owning your stuff, always learning, trying new things, not scared to fail, I will also do the boss thing that is caring. This ain't the place for you. So I try to be what I'd like to see in the world. I try to set an example for others. And at the end of the day, being an Avenger myself, if I'm not learning from them and evolving our craft, then I don't like complacency. I like people who are smart and talented and make my mind itch. And I'm blessed to be able to have that at all levels here at the organization I'm at.
That is a wonderful thing. A wonderful thing. So you talked about it a little bit earlier, but I'm going to ask you to help us dig deeper, because as a CEO, I imagine that you are always on, or there's the temptation to always be on.
It is temptation.
Yeah. So how do you create balance in your life, if you feel balanced, and create that all important self care?
I bring self care into everything that I do so that then you don't have to create space for it. That's what I learned.
Yeah.
I thought that I needed to take time off, and that's not the case at all. I get flowers every week because I love beautiful things. I take deep salt baths once or twice a week, but if I'm stressed about something, board meeting coming up, I'll take a bath right in the morning before I go to work, just be that peace. I listen to meditation apps every morning. I do deep spiritual kind of cleanse and prayers. I build in massages. I had a facial today.
I'll say you are glowing
Baby,
here.
I'm just looking beautiful like the sun. So I'm doing those particular things. I had to learn that it is an either or because my mind does not stop
Yeah.
thinking of solutions when the clock stops.
Mm-hmm.
What I did learn in that journey, what I told you to get back to loving me and being about me, is that I am a comic book, hip hop, hard rock girl that lived overseas, that loves movies, and I need all of those things to be this business person that comes up with the solutions, that does the cult, that part.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of it. It's not either or. Find what works for you, but find it fast. I just talked to my facial esthetician, and we were talking about the fact that I dance. So if I'm stressed in here, this is my office. You can see Camille. In my office, I will, put on some Madonna from the 80s or maybe Janet Jackson and just if this thing get and just right in my office, right
Yeah.
on the top floor over here in downtown Chicago, just get it in.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I look before the podcast started, I was blasting the Commodore Zoom.
Come on, come on.
It's
Because
just
it
such a
is a
calming sound.
vibration. It is
Yeah.
a vibration. So don't, for every one of the leaders, especially women, we compartmentalize and say we can't pour into ourselves. I read a book last year called The Sugar Jar. I recommend it highly for the listeners. If you haven't, read it again. That changed how I look at everything now. My energy is sugar. If it's spread all over the counter, gotta pull it back. Because if I don't have any, and that's where I had God, in that I was trying to be the CEO and it's a turnaround and the money ain't right and I didn't do this. How did I think I was going to change it in 6 months, girl, or 12 months? Get out of here. That's asinine, right? Like that piece. But I wasn't pouring into myself. And it's little, little, little things.
Yeah.
Close the door, do 10 breaths, go for a walk, listen to music in my headphones that would make my staff blush,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
color, cry. Crying is great. I put on a cry movie,
Mm-hmm.
Child Imitation of Life. I don't know if you ever heard about that one from the 50s.
Yes.
Baby, Mahalia
Yes.
Jackson, come on. And
Yeah.
then I feel better. So
Yeah.
sometimes, whatever it is, do it every day. 5 to 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. I don't have children, so I can on weekends do different things, but don't make it separate.
Yeah. If you could go back in time, what would you tell your younger self about leadership?
It doesn't have to hurt. I
Mm,
wouldn't change anything because I believe that everything happened for a reason that led to this dimension's trajectory right now. So I wouldn't
yeah.
change it. What I would do is just say that it doesn't have to hurt as bad because I don't hurt on the outside as much as I hurt on the inside. So recently, Jay-Z said something like, when I get nervous, I say the truth. And I told my staff, when I get nervous, I become Viola Davis, right? Like everybody doesn't know. They're like, damn, Artesha got it going on. And I'm like, oh, Lord, it's just on the inside. But on the outside, I'm like, out here doing it, getting it. So, but I was beating myself up on the inside. I was hurting myself with building up walls that kept me isolated. I was hurting myself by letting the bad things in my mind keep me from even going after things that I did want or asking for things or
Yeah.
showing up fully, or right, that now I can see that the things had to happen, the bad hurt had to happen, but you don't have to hurt yourself on top.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. And for women who want to reach the heights that you have reached as a CEO
Don't
of
nobody
an
want to do that. No, okay. No, no, no.
What would be a first step that you would tell them, regardless of where they are right now? What's a first step toward that journey?
So put yourself in a position where you are beholden to a lot of people at the same time. Lead a committee, serve on a board, volunteer at something, and be a subordinate, but also have to, right? Because the CEO is a unique job. I was a fellow before I became a CEO, right? Like I was those things. I got to do really, really cool, great, interesting things under other CEOs. It wasn't because I didn't have the leadership chops. Like I said, I had the other pieces. What I wasn't mentally prepared for is the CEO isn't about competency as much. It is business. I just said that. Get your business acumen up. It isn't just about that. It is about almost therapy because you're in the middle of everybody's emotions. Everybody's this. You're beholden to everybody. You're beholden to your staff. You're beholden to the board. You're beholden to the volunteers. You're beholden to the members if you're in a others association. If you're not, the customers, right? If you're in a for-profit, the government, as one person, your family. I got a new dog right now. He's 6 months old. There's no chill, y'all. So while you're building up your skills, while you're leading something, well, put yourself in positions where you have to be beholden, not just to your family and work, but something else outside of that so you can start to deal with it. Because that's what led me also in this writing and freaking out and all of those things. But then every part of it, get your mental health, your physical health, your everything. It is like being an athlete because it doesn't stop. And I have been training for this my whole career. Yeah.
That's so powerful.
I'm just saying, look, here's the piece. Everybody's journey is different. I'm excited to see the others that didn't do none of the stuff we did. You know what I mean? And they out here doing it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, what? So you sleep 12 hours a night? How? What, girl? I can't even sleep. Right? Because we were taught to do something totally different. Work hard, give it all, blah, blah, blah. We're in a
Yeah.
different place. And now there's new humans that are coming into the workforce that have none of the constraints that we have.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that that technology, and you said this earlier, technology has been the game changer. And, for those who are, Gen Xers and millennials, and maybe even baby boomers who are still, seeking to stay in their careers for a bit longer, it will become the thing, and this is my humble opinion, that is the great equalizer and that weeds out those who refuse to evolve and grow. Yeah,
Exactly. I
yeah.
love that. I think about I'm a curmudgeon. So I try to tell people, especially when I do talks where people ask me to be a keynote for them around advancements of things. I
Mhm,
try to remind them of things like typing. When I was in high school, I got a D in typing class because my best friend at the time, Jimmy Partica, sat across from me, and we would just talk the whole time. And then I got kicked out, and I got a D, and my mom was like, "How are you in the National Honor Society and you can't type?" Then fast forward, when I dropped out of college, I went to a vocational school to learn how to type. Okay,
mhm,
I got a job typing. You know what I still do right now? Advancement of technology and type.
mhm.
The keystrokes are different.
Yeah.
The speed is different. The devices that I type on are different. The keyboards I've done, and I used to have one, a virtual no keyboard that was just here. When they changed the keyboard, I'm a typist that learned how to type at a vocational school. Some people don't know it because I have an old school keyboard. They have
Mm,
updated keyboards now.
yeah,
It
yeah.
changed. So do I
Mhm,
stop typing now or do I learn how to get with the get down? Did I
mm.
learn how to do it on my iPhone with one finger? Yes, I did. Do you know what that is? It's typing. So don't be scared of technology. Be humble enough to say, I had to unlearn, relearn, and do learn, and I can learn. And that's what'll take us to the future, baby.
That's it. And so, Artisha, talk to us a little bit about what you have going on. Is there anything big that you would want to share with our audience about what you or your organization is doing right now?
Yeah, I will say we are in this beautiful new space at Association Forum around revitalizing who you are. So our campaign of, we put the you in form. It's really around how do we pour into you as individuals and not just CEOs and everybody else. Really, I was really adamant when I came because I worked my way up. We're looking at functional experts, not specialists, experts in finance. What kind of skills do they need? What kind of things are they doing? We are looking at the different career stages, but three new offerings that I will just say because we have our tried and true thing. Shout out to We Evolved Holiday Showcase last year. From a meeting planner event to a 2-day conference, made big waves around that, and it was great. We have our honors gala next week, which I will be debuting new tennis shoes, gang gang, but also honoring all of our people. But over the summer, we're going to pilot a couple of new courses. One that I'm very excited for is our We Champions, Welcoming Environment Champions course with Dr. C. Armstead, who's been working with us on this. This isn't a learn about DEI course. We understand that DEI is under attack. We understand that the work that people have been doing in associations is facing all kinds of hurdles. This is a bring your challenge, work through experts, hands on deep dive, get things done together as ways to support and kind of advance. So we support and amplify from a business strategy things that are already working in other places. We add a gap of what's missing. So that'll be the first. The other is a fit for purpose. Shout out to Jeff DeCania. We are working with him to roll out a new offering for that as well. Again, around hands on, really getting into the weeds of if you are really serious about changing the outcomes, you really need to change the inputs, like from leadership. And then the third one is for us. We created a brand new course offering, launched the pilot this year. It's Associations 201. I'm excited. Shout out to Alec Rakowski, my director of learning and events. He took my wild brain idea and, some framing that I was able to build out, made it into something, and then we just launched it. It's a skills based. So not just kind of really looking at associations, what associations do, or whatever. These are skills that are transferable inside and outside of associations. How do you really leverage emerging tech? What are the hands-on things that you need to be able to do in a one-day offering? So those three new things are really under the new umbrella as I kind of lean in with the forum. We have in 2 weeks a study that we'll start to get the early results on about the future workplace skills that we've done with one of our, a couple of our partners. But really looking out, because I'm a futurist, Foresight Works, really looking out the lenses with our partners like Center for Creative Leadership and Northwestern University. So big news and more to come, and I'll be sure to share it with you. And folks, follow me on LinkedIn or any of the socials. Although I'm a technologist that don't be on the socials that much. Don't look at me, Camille. I don't be out there. I be in reading comic books and stuff. The X-Men got new cartoons. I mean, I got stuff to do. But reach out to me, especially on LinkedIn or any of the socials, to keep an eye on what Association Forum is doing. And shout out to the Chicagoland community because they've really embraced me, coming wild-haired from the East Coast and all of that.
Yeah.
And we out here.
I was going to ask you about that. What has your transition been like since
It has
you?
been crazy. I can't
Okay.
get no Scrabble. I mean, I don't know what is going on. No, it's been the best thing that I could have done in my late 40s that I didn't know I needed. Really.
Wow.
We
Wow.
moved. It has been trying, finding things. It made me and my husband stronger because it was us against the world. It pushed me in that depression part too, because I underestimated how traumatic it was to sell my house and move around and get other things. It's the best thing that I've ever done for myself personally. So
Wow.
I'm not saying everybody pick up and move to Chicago. It's cold. It's
Hmm.
cold.
Hmm.
But I will say, do something that scares the hell out of you because it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can't think of a better way to end than that. You know, that is
That's,
that is
I
so
love this. I could
wonderful.
talk to you forever. I could talk to you forever. So now let me give you your flowers before we go. This is needed. It's needed in the space. It's needed from you. You have such a beautiful light and such an energetic, like every time somebody leaves your presence, they feel like, damn, I'm ready to get it done. So thank you for doing this. Thank you for leaning in. Thank you for everybody who's participated. Thank you for everybody who's listening. But Camille, I'm proud of you, baby. I'm proud of you.
Thank
Keep
you.
doing it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I talked about this when Cynthia Mills was on, but it took a lot of courage for me to step out here, into the podcast world where there right now are a sea of voices, right? And embrace that I too could contribute in some way and had something positive to add to the community. So I am really humbled by that. And listen, you about to make me listen. I'm the interview. I'm not supposed to be emotional here. See, this is what you do though. But I, but yeah, it's a really special moment. And so thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me. I appreciate it more than you know. And listeners, I hope that this has been as rich and wonderful for you as it has been for me. I hope you enjoy the episode and get back with us in about 2 weeks for a new episode of Leadership Bites podcast. Thank you and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.